Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United. Welcome back. It's All for United. No match day this weekend, so instead we're sat here on All for United's last word, talking about a topic that has been doing the rounds. United, I think, briefed the press would be the right thing to say about revamping Old Trafford. So there was 3 different points we want to let you and we want to have our say on what we think should happen next to Old Trafford to bring it into the modern day. And since loads has come to light, including, I think it's about the 2028 Euros, Old Trafford at this moment in time will not be hosting a game as part of the plans because of how shite the stadium is. So there we go. Interesting. I'll go through those in a minute. First of all, we are a bit more free on this show. Karthik and Stu are going to be joining us in a second. Stu's under the thumb at Batman. That's what he says anyway. Karthik's having dinner with a missus over a candle-lit romantic dinner on his bed, I expect. And Jamie and Callum couldn't make it today because Jamie's got Callum. Okay, wait a second. Let me get this right because I don't want to start rumours. Okay, Jamie's got COVID and he's been snogging Callum. So there we go. I got it right. I don't want to start any rumours. Baines, you all right, mate? Thank you for being an honorary last word member. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. All good. It's I've had a good weekend. Hamilton has pulled out the stops. I know. I'm only joking. God, I'm only joking.
We're a football channel.
No,
we're not even 5 minutes in. Come on.
We're a football channel. Benny?
Look, this is the only thing that was on this weekend, so why not?
I'm good, thank you, Ben. I'm good. I just feel sorry for Connor when he saw the car spin. But yeah.
I think to be honest, Connor was more upset about what happened about a minute before the car spin, to be fair.
Oh yeah. Both the same car spin. I'm still finding my way into it, but yeah. Fair enough, Ed. That's done correcting again.
How are you?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connor, you look a bit tired.
Piss off.
Connor, you look like you haven't got much fuel going into your engine, mate. Are you okay? Connor, you're looking a bit maxed out to me, Connor. Are you all right?
How long have you been saving? Ever since the last race of last season, you've been saving these, haven't you?
Connor, I'm just concerned that if you do get any more upset, you're going to want to put yourself in a box. What's the matter, Connor? Are you okay?
Remember, Connor, you got to push.
Yeah.
It's all good because Kevin Magnussen's going to win the title this year.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just asking if you're all right. You just look a little bit tired. Anyway.
I am shattered, to be fair.
Oh, mate. Well, fair enough. As long as you're okay. As I say, this panel's going to get bigger, but let's start with the points that came out about revamping Old Trafford. I wish I could sit here and talk about how freaking brilliant Garner was today, by the way, for Forest against Liverpool, but I'm not going to do that because Connor and Benny are going to do that tomorrow on a special Reds Weekly. It's going to be a Lone Watch show, and that we're going to be teaming up with Talk Forest TV to get the lowdown on Garner at Forest. So join us for that tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe. Let's chat quickly about the plans to revamp Old Trafford. Connor, let me come to you first. One of the points on this was about doing a demolition job on Old Trafford and building it back up to try and bring it into the current day. I think that's what's got people talking more than anything. So first of all, let me come over to you and we'll hit a bit broadly on this. Knocking down Old Trafford, good idea or a bad idea?
Awful idea. I get the premise, and they've probably looked at what Spurs did in terms of they can build next to it or just shift it over a few hundred meters. I get it. I get the reasons why that's part of the plan. No, not for me. It doesn't need Old Trafford, contrary to what people tell you, it doesn't need all that much work to make it, up there with some of the best. It's got the infrastructure there. It just needs additions to it and modernizing. It doesn't need knocking down and building 4 tiers high, make it 150k. It doesn't need that. It just needs adding to what's currently there. So this whole knocking it down, rebuilding it from scratch. Like I said, they're going for the Tottenham model. They're going for, what they did with White Hart Lane in terms of they basically built on the side of it. So no, I don't think when you talk about the 3 options there, I don't think That's the most fun. And to be fair, that's got to be the most expensive, surely, when you're looking at all three of them.
I was just about to say that.
That's going to be the most expensive one.
All right.
Just quickly, let me come. I just want to flick down to Benny quickly, because we've spoken about this on shows before, Benny, especially when we're doing the Glazers Out shows. Now, Connor says there that he doesn't think Old Trafford does actually need that much work doing to it. But the general consensus is from a lot of match-going fans and also us and people who are watching from the background. You've been going to Old Trafford now for how many years, Benny? How many years have you been going to games now?
So many years since I was the age of 7, mate. You know.
So you've watched Old Trafford deteriorate. Let's use that word, and it hasn't been invested in. That statement Connor's just made there, I don't want you two to have fisticuffs, but do you believe that? Do you believe it doesn't need a lot of work doing?
Mate, the thing is, though, it does need work doing to it. It's been... Well, the last sort of major work got done to it was 2005, and that was greenlit before the owners even came in. That was the 2 quadrants being put in. And ever since then, it's just been left to deteriorate. I know over the last year or so, they've obviously put in the new disabled section, which, the new disabled areas in various parts of the ground, which that cost them 11 million quid to do, which, to be fair to the club, the facilities in that is absolutely fantastic. You know, we're the only club in English football that can offer different views and different viewing platforms at different levels than any other English. Not even Wembley Stadium can offer you that. So we are unique in that way. They have given it a lick of paint here and there. They have tried to paint the scaffolding, if as people like to call it, holding up the roof. Even though if you look, they've got it all nicely painted where the Manchester United sign is, but if you look further up as it's going onto the roof, you can see there's still a load of rust on there where they haven't really touched it, haven't really jet washed it down, haven't given it a new lick of paint. The concourses are cramped, out of date. The seating areas, of course, in the Stadium Bowl. Everybody knows the problem with the seating areas. It has been an age-old problem since day one. Since they've had to put since it had to become an all-seated venue, since the Hillsborough disaster, and every single stadium top flight stadium in the country had to become all-seated. So that's again not ideal. But then you look at it on the other hand, and you look at people saying knock it down for a total rebuild. One problem that people haven't really realised: where's the team going to play? There isn't enough land. There is enough to start a stadium off, but there isn't enough land where they will have to knock into the old stadium to build a massive, purposely built stadium. Where will the team play for a year or two? There is no Wembley. There is no big stadium in the northwest that can host United matches. And before somebody goes, well, why can't United play at Wembley? We'll up and move all our games to London. Not a chance. Can we play at the Etihad? Not a chance. Their ground's too small for us. I think they hold back 58,000. We have 55,000 season ticket holders, plus, of course, your corporate season ticket holders on top of that, which I believe take it to almost well and above their capacity. So how are you going to keep season ticket holders? And then the fact that you can't have any members going for a couple of years or so, how are you going to please people that way? The thing is with United is they've got one of two, well, they've got obviously one of three options, but one of two major options. It could be that I heard years ago from somebody that he had a mate that works at Old Trafford, no longer works at Old Trafford now, but back then the rumours was that United would keep a close eye on Tottenham Hotspur and how they was going to build up their new stadium, how they would phase their move out of the White Hart Lane and into their new stadium, beg your pardon. And of course, they still required them to play games at Wembley Stadium, and their build took longer than expected, and it costs £1 billion. Now, if you think that United are going to build a new stadium, if it costs £1 billion for Tottenham, let's say it's £1.5 billion, £2 billion for Man United, we've got to add United tax on top of that. Because United are going to want the biggest stadium in the country, the best stadium in the country, and it's going to cost a lot of money. How are they going to fund that? You know, we're in debt as it is. You know, we're in a mess on the field. Our team is sorting out. The other option is, do we do what Real Madrid have done, what Liverpool have done, and revamp the stadium that way. We look at Liverpool at Anfield. There, I can't remember. Is it the Dalglish down, whatever it is, that redeveloped and made all nice and pristine? And that stadium, that stadium is just about as old as Old Trafford as well. Let's be fair. Do we go that way? Do we try and? I know I'm not a construction. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a developer or anything like that. But if we could do that with minimal fuss, so we could have fans in there still, the players squad could still play at Old Trafford. Mm-hmm. Again, question marks over the rail track. Do we have to negotiate with Network Rail? Can we shut it down? Do we shut it down overnight, work overnight like they would do on a motorway? But then you're forgetting that you've got housing behind that as well.
There's a problem everywhere. There's a problem everywhere
you look. But what I will say is, though, before I end it all, because I know I've been blabbing on for ages, Old Trafford is the reason why it's called the Theatre of Dreams, and it's the reason why it has a lot of nostalgia behind it, a lot of history behind it. But it's also, yes, it's looking run down. Yes, it's outdated compared to the new stadiums. But I would argue the fact it still has that wow factor. And I'll tell you why. You'll see it on social media. Someone's took their son, their daughters, maybe their mates, whoever it is, for the very first time, and the film them going up the steps into the stadium bowl, and it still gives you that wow factor reaction. It still gives you that wow Old Trafford. Kids, especially with kids, they still go look at this, go to the stadium bowl and go like, wow. Do you know what I mean? And I argue this still has the same effect on the under-18s that we play in there for the FA Youth Cup, the under-23s that played there Friday night. It still has that wow factor. It's still Old Trafford. It still means something. And if you would knock that all down, build a new stadium, would that wow factor still be there? Would we lose a part of our unique history? Yes, you could build history up over time, but will we lose that? That theatre of dreams. And one thing else that we could say, I'll end it on, naming rights. Is another reason. We can buy new stadiums. Say, I know other sponsorship deals could be available, other soft drink partners are available, but say it's Coca-Cola. And I can guarantee it'll have some Yankee, crappy American football name like this. The Coca-Cola Malcolm Memorial Stadium. I'll leave you with that.
Well, do you know what I love? Do you know why I love doing shows with Benny is because I can write a whole sheet out of prep of questions that I'm about to answer, and Benny would give me an answer to every single one of them before I've even got through to the
I do apologise, by the way.
So, guys, thanks for watching. We're all united. Honestly. Bainesy, hold your thoughts. And I am going to talk about naming rights. I am going to talk about the history and the nostalgia behind the stadium, because arguably that is the one thing that Juventus fans, Arsenal fans, even Spurs fans, West Ham fans have all said they lost when they built a new stadium and got rid of their old one. But I feel, guys, right now, we're going to have a bit of a moment because there's a reunion happening on this show, and Bainesy and myself and Benny, I feel like we should just, remove ourselves for a moment and Carpet's washing machine just be involved in a bit of over to you guys.
How you doing, Carthy?
Yeah, mate. Where's this music been coming from, by the way?
I've got no idea. What's going on?
This technology wasn't available when I used to be on this channel.
How is
this happening?
It's Ben's influence. Look at him. He's pushing more money in now. Look at him. I can see it backstage.
If you leave us alone for any longer, unlike Verstappen, we will finish.
I'm back. No, no. Let's bring everyone back in.
I hated that.
Oh, that's quality.
Unlike last week, we had Stu with I never knew how tough wood was. And this week we've had Carpet with unlike Max, we will finish. I mean, this show peaks too soon. A bit like Verstappen.
Why did I come on? After the race, I was thinking, I'm not going on tonight. I was so close to going, I'm not coming on. I saw fucking everyone else on there. And I was like,
so, James,
that's because he's not done his fucking wall yet.
No, he's got a picture of Max Verstappen up on his wall. And when he did not,
fair.
when he did not finish, he punches it, so it's got a bit of a hole in it at the moment. Oh God, not the music. Hammer's with us. Neil says West Ham didn't rebuild their stadium. Yeah, but Neil, you know what I mean, bud. Come on, you know what I mean. They went from one to another and they just couldn't keep it. They couldn't keep the same atmosphere. Aaron says we need to rebuild it like the Bernabeu. But again, I think, Benny, your opinion applies here. And what you said earlier, at least they could go to their youth stadium throughout the COVID pandemic. They hit a trigger on it. So having fans in the stadium didn't matter. United cannot move to the Sports Village. We can't do that. There's loads of comments coming in. John Commode. By the way, John offered to come on earlier on when we had Callum drop out. John, thank you so much. He said, let's be clear, stands have been demolished and rebuilt before. Stretford in 92 and Sir Alex Ferguson stand in the mid-90s. You do want to keep it the same ground, but needs a lot of repair. Bainesy, looking into this, look, let's just quickly go over the three options when it comes to the proposals of what the United hierarchy are considering for the redevelopment of Old Trafford. So knock it down and rebuild it from scratch. Rebuild and extend South Stand. Now, what that extent of that rebuild is, I'm not sure anyone's that clear on. Or leave stadium structurally intact, but conduct a revamp of spectator and corporate areas. Of course, they'll start with the corporate areas, right, Bainesy?
Yeah, well, to be honest, to me, it just looks like they've put down three options and they're just going to choose the cheapest, just to try and appease the likes of us lot in the here on the panel and also on the comments. So I don't know. To me, I've got a different view than Benny and Connor. I actually say knock it down and rebuild it, because I think it's got to a point now what it does need a huge revamp, and it's deteriorated so far to the point where even if whatever they try and do, if it's whether they restructurally try and build the South Stand and then they've got that rail network or whatever, I think it's actually gone too far. I just think it's gone too far over that edge where even if they try and do something, it's just not going to be right. So the issue obviously is that if they do try and rebuild the whole stadium, is one, where will the team play? And two, where will fans go and see them? Now, we're not obviously in the pandemic anywhere where there's no fans. But I don't know, we can't exactly like Benny said, we can't go to City. You the only place really you can go is Old Trafford Cricket Ground, and there's absolutely no chance that's going to happen. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I saw a few people tweet about how United actually own a lot of the estate around Old Trafford, and there's enough space to build. Not on it, but next to Old Trafford. Now, I don't know whether that's been taken into consideration. I don't even know if that's true. I've only seen tweets.
Ding dong, right? Move out. We're building a stadium here. See you in a bit.
To be fair, he's spot on. United have been buying a lot of land up. But
the industrial
nobody knows what that
back.
land is. Is it on the stadium plot? Is it in and around Trafford Park? Is it around elsewhere in Trafford? The other thing is, I think, I'm not 100% certain, but where the shipping yard is behind the Stretford end, there's all the metal containers, lorry containers. I believe United own that, and that's been leased out to the World Trade Center. Yeah. So whether United can then just say, we want that plot of land back now, we're going to develop on it, I don't know. But we shall see. I'm sorry, Baines, back to your point.
No. You've just because I didn't know what areas they did, and I only saw it when it was a match-going fan, and he said that he was in the construction and engineering business, and he said that United do own a lot of the area around Old Trafford. Now it could be a possibility that they build a huge 90,000 whatever thousand seater that you want to build next to Old Trafford. Then they could knock down the old one and build I think they were saying like a 25 or 30,000 seater for the women's game and the under 18s or 23s, however you want to do it. I don't know. But personally speaking, I don't think they will do the rebuild because it's going to cost them, 1.5 billion? And who's going to fund that? It's clear that the Glazers aren't going to fund that. It's going to come from the club. So,
but Bainesy, on that, we say that the Glazers won't fund that, right? Yeah. I've just seen Fred Woodward here. Shout out to Fred Woodward, who's made a similar point to that. Just demolishing Old Trafford and rebuilding is rumours to cost around 1.5 billion. There's a zero chance of the Glazers entertaining that. Yeah. Whether we like it or not, Glazers right now aren't going anywhere, right? They're just not, whether we like it or not. Now, just to flick through the top three name rights deals for stadiums, right? One's Turkey, one's Atletico Madrid's Wanda Stadium.
Wanda Metropolitano, that one.
8.5 million a year, the naming rights to that. Man City Etihad, £15 million a year. Now, if United had sell the naming rights of Old Trafford, you're looking at 15 to 20 million pound a year. For the
Don't forget Barcelona have got a Spotify now as well at Nou Camp.
Yeah,
I don't know how much that one is.
Spotify.
I think that's the same. I think that's 10 to 20 million, somewhere in between that. It'd be worth having a look at how much that is. But these naming rights for these stadiums and these places are only going to get bigger and bigger because you're not just selling that, but also you're selling the opportunity like Spurs are at the moment with the stadium, despite, with what's going on there, the opportunity to do concerts, the opportunity to do big sporting events as well. Like, for instance, you're telling me that if we had a 90,000 capacity seater stadium right now with all the latest technology, Tyson Fury and Dylan Wright wouldn't be at Old Trafford over Wembley.
Didn't Tyson Fury say once that he wanted to fight at Old Trafford?
But
he's a massive Man United
Old Trafford couldn't hold a boxing match right now. The way that it's at compared to the likes of the Hotspur Stadium and Wembley. So there's loads to come with this. It's not just being, Spotify Old Trafford or whatever. Oh God, it's making me want to vomit in my mouth. But it's not being that just for the sake of Manchester United games. It's also that's where Britney Spears is having her next concert, Benny's favourite artist. That's where Max Verstappen is next, not finishing. That's where Carthic's going to try and pick up a bird at the next Calvin Harris gig, but a real one. Like all these things. So it's one of those, isn't it? There's a lot more to naming rights. The exposure you can get from it is massive, and it's the luxury of having the naming rights to Manchester United Stadium.
It's a fine line, though. It's a very fine line.
Can we rebuild our team before we rebuild our stadium?
Exactly. This is the other point I was going to get to. We've got bigger problems than the stadium.
If we build a stadium, what are we going to call it? New Trafford.
Like I said before, Kai, before you joined, it'll be some of that. I know other soft drinks are available. The Coca-Cola Malcolm Memorial Stadium.
Might be the Red Bull Stadium. You never know.
Yeah.
It won't get finished then. No, man.
What do you make of all this, Carthick?
Like I said, let's rebuild the team first. Like, why are we talking about a new stadium? You know why it is. They just want to tap into what Spurs have done in terms of NFL and other.
Oh, there's an internet.
I mean, I know we do rugby. I'd like to get. It wouldn't be a showdown. Like, anyway, I'm going to carry on speaking. We already do rugby and stuff, so obviously they want other sports. And if this whole Manchester United cricket team thing becomes a thing, well, then if you turn it into a massive bowl, you can make it a cricket ground as well, even though you've got one down the road. You never know. I don't know.
What do you make specifically about the some of the words on the use of demolish Old Trafford? That's what they're saying, potentially to build it from the ground up. Benny mentioned it first time round, and again talking about vomiting in my mouth, like sharing a stadium with Manchester City, like they do in Milan. It would be the most horrendous thing I could think of. But surely you can't. United will have nowhere to play. They literally wouldn't.
That's what I mean. Like you'd have to literally share a ground with a local team, and where would you go? Like you can't share. No one's going to share a stadium. You're not going to share a stadium with City. Like it's just not going to happen. It's just not. So you just have nowhere to play. You just have to play away games all season.
It depends where they build it, though. It depends where they build it.
True. Yeah. It could be like what Connor said. Just go and play at Lee. Okay, we'll chuck 75,000 in there. We'll be fine.
But no one's come up with the idea. Would they potentially move off site as well? And when I say off site, stay within the Trafford area, but where the Trafford Centre is, there's a whole load of land over there that can be built upon, and it's still within Trafford Park. It's still Trafford. It's still the Trafford area of Manchester. Just moving a little bit further out. Could they potentially build a new stadium on there? Could you play it at Old Trafford and going that way about it? That's another thing that hasn't been muted. But as I said, though, but then that makes no sense because the club's official word is staying on the plot of land that they're on now. So, but you never know with things like these days. Things move quite quickly, and somebody might come in and suggest that idea. Because I know they were looking at possibilities of moving training ground from Carrington to up near Knutsford somewhere where there's a load of land that could build on. But I think that's been now knocked on the head, and I think they've got the developers in now. Well, not now, but they've decided on the developers for Carrington, and that's going to be hopefully work's going to undertake there for a little bit. When I watched the under-18s on MUTV yesterday, you could only see that they've been digging up plots of land and stuff, and by the looks of it, they've got the diggers in, and they've got the you've got all the vehicles in there. That looks like I think are they now starting to extend it now? By the looks of it, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that one, so don't quote me on that one. But I do know that they're not going to move to anywhere near Knutsford. But that was another thing that was pointed out as well, and I think I've read somewhere that they have got in the developers now, or their preferred developers now. They've got in whoever they've decided it is to renovate and revamp Carrington. So hopefully work will start on that ASAP, and then we can all start believing with our own eyes that the owners are, the owners are putting their money where their mouths are, so to speak. They are looking at developing, redeveloping and revamping our resources, our facilities, because actions speak louder than words. And it's like people are saying, where's all this money going to come from? It's one of those, isn't it? We could speculate upon speculate.
I know where it could come from, Benny. It could come from a ground share with FC Poynton's under 18.
I'm sure they've got plenty of room.
Right, fuck off, right? Less of this abuse towards under 18s.
Yeah. Do you know what? I did see this, though, from Andrew Tolbert. I hope you're good, pal. He put, they won't knock it down, maybe a lick of paint, that's it. I doubt they will extend the south stand as well. This is what we were saying earlier on, though, like we were discussing, well, how bad a nick is Old Trafford, and what are we comparing it to?
To be fair, sorry, Ben, with Old Trafford, though, when you've been going for years and years, you sort of get used to the imperfections. You sort of get used to the cramped seats. You get used to, if you all stood up, like, for example, now, since they put the safe stand and the J stand, all behind the E stand now, we're all out to stand up, and they don't have no fussy stewards telling us to sit down anymore. And you sort of stood, you're not sort of stood face on like that, you sort of stood at an angle, sort of sideways like that, because you can't all stand face on, shoulder to shoulder, because it's so cramped, And it's like imperfections like that you get used to. And someone did make a point to me at Old Trafford the other day as well. If the government were allow us to, and the authorities were allow us to go all safe standing, and you see more safe standing in there, that's now going to eradicate half the problems of leg room and everything, especially where you think that the safe standing will all go behind the goals. So that'll probably, dissipate some of the crampness of sitting down. But obviously, you're going to have like your Alex Ferguson, your Bobby Charlton, which will definitely all be seated. All be for the families that want to sit down, and for the older generation that might want to sit down. It all depends what's going to happen in the future as well. It's the romance of Old Trafford. It's the history, it's that. I watched the thing on Amazon Prime of Day about West Ham's final season at Upton Park. A lot of them did not want to move. A lot of them, even when I went this season, I know a few West Ham fans who went to speak to them, and even this season they still hate the London Stadium. There was that wish we never moved. It was the wrong decision. We should never have moved from Upton Park. The atmosphere is shit. So miles away from the action. And that's my other great worry about if they build a new stadium. Are they going to put us further away from the action? Are they going to make this like Wembley type construction, this oval type thing that sits you a little bit further away? Or are they going to be sensible and think, listen, English football, let's sit right on top of the pitch, let's develop it. Spurs Stadium's nice, don't get me wrong, but it looks like a toilet bowl, but it's nice. It's got all the mod cons that you want. But then somebody else said to me, though, you're going to watch a football match. You're not. Well, why are we all asked about? Half the people all go to the pub and don't turn up 5 minutes before kickoff. Who cares about the concourses and the £3 beers? You're only drinking Carling, which is water anyway.
That's the point, Benny, I made at the start of the show. Though some of the best grounds are the proper old-fashioned ones.
Yeah.
I love going to it, especially following the women's team. This season, some of the older grounds, some of the non-league grounds you get to go to, they're the best grounds. And I think this is what I was saying earlier, and I think people forget this. The Glazers aren't going to just shove hundreds and hundreds of millions into the club anyway. We know this. So if the money's going to go on a stadium or it's going to go on a redevelopment or all of this, It's coming out of a pot somewhere else. It's coming out of recruitment, or it's coming out of the academy development. It's coming out of somewhere. The Glazers aren't going to shove in money in every single department. So if we go and spend, let's say, 500 million for argument's sake on redeveloping Old Trafford, that's coming out of the transfer pot, or that's coming out of a pot somewhere because of the way the budget cycles work. I think people just think that, right, let's make a new stadium and let's also shove hundreds of millions of pounds into players and transfers as well. But it's not going to happen. I think people.
It's more debt, isn't it? Or it's more
Exactly.
debt. It's one or the other. Like, where else or where is the money going to come from? And I mean, actually, let's have some fun with this. Or it's naming rights. So who's gonna name the stadium, guys? Come on, who are we thinking? So Benny said earlier on about the Coca-Cola Glazer Memorial Stadium or whatever it was that Benny said.
Coca-Cola Malcolm Memorial Stadium.
Malcolm Memorial Stadium. It's got a ring to that, ain't it, Carpet?
The other issue, sorry, just quickly. The other issue, are you sure we feel like we're not going to run down like the Derby? Because Derby are having issues at the moment selling their club because of the naming of who owns the stadium, Pride Park. So if the Glazers do rebuild and they demolish, rebuild, blah blah blah, could there be a clause somewhere that, and we know how shady these guys can be, that okay, if you want to buy the club, you can buy the club, but you can't buy the ground. And that's what Derby are currently undergoing, and that's why we haven't got a proper bid for Derby yet because of the ground. So I don't know.
Didn't something similar happen with Coventry as well?
Coventry. There's been a lot of clubs where the owners have funded and built the stadium, and they actually own it. So it's not the club that own it; it's the owners over a different legal entity. So that could be another issue. So who knows at this point.
I was just having a look at, is it the Tampa Bay team the Glazers own? What's the team that the Glazers own?
Is it the Bucks?
Yeah, Buccaneers.
Yeah.
That's called the Raymond James Stadium. So that's not commercially bought out, is it? Is it?
I don't know. Isn't that...
They built a new
It's got a big fucking pirate ship.
Didn't they build a new stadium?
No, it was LA Rams. Didn't LA Rams build a massive stadium, and it's not owned by the NFL team? It's owned by Kroenke and all them guys, isn't it, or something?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think it's the LA Rams they're thinking about.
Just trying to have a look, see if there's anyone they've got on the books, like the Team Viewer Stadium. It could be called the Bitcoin Stadium. Something like this. I don't sort of know where
they wouldn't be able to rename it. I don't think. I know that
this is what
it's hard to find a United fan out there, but they would never get away with that.
But this is what I was going to come on to, right? And this is my thoughts on it. So I don't think they should knock it down and rebuild it, because the stadium was built. So I had to get it because I was going to say the early 1900s, but 1909, right, was when Old Trafford was built, and it's been through a lot of heartache and trouble when it comes to being on that land as well, through the wars, etc. But either way, Old Trafford was established in 1909. If there's any other site in the UK still standing today, it's a heritage site. It's not allowed to be built. It's not allowed to be commercially grown. It's a heritage site that is there for its purpose, and it's made to fit to purpose. Yeah, of course, most of his heritage sites are tourist attractions now, but we've got to admit that there also is a big chunk of Old Trafford being a tourist attraction as well, for the fact it homes the greatest club in English football. I think ultimately with Old Trafford, if you're going to knock it down, Benny's right. You come into so much red tape, not just with the logistics, but with fans. So what does that mean for the future of Old Trafford? Coffee, you made a joke about it, but Old Trafford's not Old Trafford if it's knocked down and rebuilt 25, miles or 10 miles to the side, or 5 miles. That's not Old Trafford. The issue you've got is making fans fall in love with that stadium again. So can we do something with it materialistically to make it a better stadium? Go on, Carpet, you've unmuted.
Well, yeah, you made the point where it's not the same Old Trafford, and you see that with loads of clubs that have moved or have built new stadiums or whatever. It's not the same. You lose the history.
Oh, there it goes.
And you lose what comes with that. If you're playing in a bowl with no fans, or in a bowl with just people that don't really care about the team, and they're there on a commercial trip, well, you're not going to get that thing. So what you can do instead, you've just got to do the basics. Like right now, we don't even have a stadium that can withstand rain. Like, you don't need to build a new stadium to achieve that. Just maintain it. You can't even get signal in Old Trafford. It's Old Trafford, for goodness sake. You can't get signal. You can't get Wi-Fi in there. What on earth? It's Manchester United Football Club. Even on a commercial level, even on a Glazers money thinking level, surely Wi-Fi and and good Wi-Fi and mobile signal is going to help you.
Are you there to watch a football match? You're there to go on your phone on Wi-Fi.
No. Hang on. Look, I'm an IT
of-
expert, right? I'm an IT expert, so I work in networking. To get Wi-Fi for 75,000
Sorry, wait a
people.
second. You cannot come on AFU's last word and go, I'm an IT expert.
No, I am. I work in IT.
Well,
Right? Listen, hear me
carpet's
out.
lagging out over
To
there.
get Wi-Fi for 75,000 people
Wi-Fi
is no
for me,
joke. All right, so it's not freaking easy. It's hard work to get that, to distribute a signal, a Wi-Fi signal, whatever network you have. It will cost you hundreds of thousands of pounds. Honestly, it will. And that's no joke. So to get anyway, it doesn't really matter anyway, because why are you even there? You were there to watch the football. You're not there to connect to Wi-Fi.
No, babes, I'm there to make fan cam content because I'm a fan cam.
No, we're not. No, phones. No. The Wi-Fi thing is the last thing that we should really be worrying about if you're going to rebuild a stadium.
But if they are, what's your number?
To be fair, you know, on the Wi-Fi point, they are putting in Wi-Fi. They've got their partners now, and I think they're slowly but surely reintroduce all Wi-Fi into Old Trafford.
Wait a second.
Sorry.
It's the 20th of March, 2022, right? And Benny, you've just said they're putting in Wi-Fi. They're just putting in Wi-Fi. At the moment, they're putting in Wi-Fi.
Well, I know they've been on to Wi-Fi partners and all.
My God.
Who could do this? Who could do that?
TeamViewer will do it. They've got a huge impact.
I know it's not TeamViewer. It's someone else that construct. You know, because a lot of the old stuff is from Vodafone still.
Benny, forget about this conversation. It doesn't matter.
Mr. Batman himself.
That's out.
It's not the Batman. It's the Penguin.
Listen, you never see Stu and Batman in the same room.
Hang on a minute. I thought it was All for United. What is it called? The Last Word. I didn't realise it was bingo night.
Yeah. Can I just say, the Batman, dear me.
Oh, shut up, Stu. It's such a good film.
Do you reckon?
Yes.
He's going to slate it.
Forget Batman.
It's not like the 1989 Batman. Come on.
No.
If I was in that cinema, I wouldn't be looking at the screen. I'd be looking at that chest hair. Whoa.
No, I haven't got any. Let me get rid of that.
Hello, ding dong. I'm out with the missus.
I thought I'd treat the wife. You know, she doesn't get treated often. So
I'm a little bit concerned, Stu. If you went out with that button done up and now it's undone, you rushed to come on.
You know what it is. You know, one tries, one fails.
Hello, kiddo.
I'm getting a bit kind of like, yeah. It's all right.
Stu, I think you look fabulous, mate.
Thank you. What have I missed anyway? What have
you missed? We've spoken only about the football on this show so far.
The show's not finished yet. Don't worry.
The show's not maxed out yet, Stu.
Sorry, two topics to go, not laps. Topics. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Have we gone through the F1 yet or not?
Only talk about football. We only talk about football on this show. Otherwise, Stu, we might not finish.
I was watching the F1, but I stopped after lap 55. What happened?
Let's ask Connor what happened after that 55. Connor, it's over to you.
I fucking knew this was going to happen. I was so close to not coming on tonight. When as soon as it happened, I was thinking, for God's sake.
You don't have to finish the show.
Do you want some background? Connor, would you like some background music? This one's called Night Driving. Here you go. You can have some background music whilst you tell us about what happened on the Formula One track earlier on today.
I would be shit as an actor.
Hey, funnily enough, you got overtaken quite a bit at the end, didn't you?
Can you just add everyone back in here? Because I've got nothing to say. It's like that Mourinho thing, isn't it? Like when he, what's he say? Prefer not to speak or something. That's going to be me for the rest of this.
If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
I think Verstappen threw his toys at the pram when he knew his car was, and he just went into the pits.
They told him to box. You can hear it on the radio.
No. He already turned in
when he was going in. Yeah, I think
that's why they did the radio thing, because he slowed down before he went into that turn, and then he turned right to go into the pits, and then the radio came on, and they went. Yeah,
the radio doesn't play live. It's like 20 seconds behind.
No. I'm just saying what I saw, Connor. I'm not sat there next to Christian Horney.
Are you two working for bloody Drive to Survive or something on fucking Netflix?
Yeah, I am, actually. Why are you saying that about me just because I'm brown in IT? Bloody hell, Connor. Fucking hell. Just because one brown guy is in IT doesn't mean the other is.
Well, we can tell you're fucking not because your internet doesn't work.
Exactly. I was trying to freaking say his internet don't work. He's a crap IT expert.
Speaking of which, Bainsy, come help me out, mate. You know,
Yeah, we'll do.
I'm moving soon, so I might have a laugh.
We need some car crashing sound.
We just need cars stopping.
Is not finishing a common problem for this panel? Well, it was only last week that Stu. It was only last week that Stu told us that he never knew that wood was tough. So,
Yes,
I mean,
I remember that.
Do you know, I'd forgotten I said that.
You didn't.
I
You
didn't
knew
put it
that
out on
tonight, though.
socials. I should have, shouldn't I?
You should have. I'm glad you didn't clip that. Yeah, thank you.
Come on, Stu, tell us quickly. Right, we haven't had your opinions on this, so let's go back to the very start of the show and we do it all again. Thanks for turning up, by the way. Appreciate
It's
it.
all right. Sorry, I'm late.
So they're considering 3 options for the revamping of Old Trafford. Knock it down and rebuild it from scratch, rebuild and extend South Stand, leave stadium structurally intact, but conduct a revamp of spectator and corporate areas. Just to give you a run through, Connor said it looks absolutely amazing. It's a great ground, doesn't need hardly any work doing to it. Karthik said his biggest concern amongst all of this is that we need to invest in the first team to start off with, which is very sensible, I think. Bainsy said that he's an IT expert and Wi-Fi is the last thing we should be looking at. And Benny said that Old Trafford's his home and he doesn't want to lose his home. Tell us, Stu.
Yeah, you see, I'm with Benny on this one. I don't want to lose the integrity that is and the history that is Old Trafford. But I'll say this, and I'll air a note of caution. If we redevelop around the skeleton of Old Trafford, the difference in cost to actually redevelop around the skeleton and perhaps knocking it down and having a new stadium is probably only going to be like 200 or 300 million quid.
Yeah,
so
it's only that much.
If that's the case, then you really would have to, and Benny will agree with me on this, not knock it down, because for the sake of 300 million quid.
Yeah, you've got that in that door behind you, haven't you, Stu?
No, sorry.
You've got 300 mil in that door behind you, haven't you? Surely 300 mil. I can pay for that.
I might have. But for me, look, you know, I've been going since I was 8 years old, 1978, and I've seen it, you know, go from wood almost to what it is today.
What is it with you and wood?
Dude, why did you mention in wood?
I thought I put that put in, but Benny knows what I mean. There's a lot of wooden areas to the actual brick. There's a lot of wooden structures.
Is there a lot of wood inside Old Trafford on match day?
Loads of wood. Loads of hard.
So much wood there, you know. You got so much wood there, you can shake a load of sticks at it.
Yeah, no, loads of beams. And I kind of think that as much as I don't want to see Old Trafford knocked down, I think the cost to build over the actual railway line itself on a structural basis, I think will be expensive. To redress it will be expensive. You just may have to look at the option of removing it and restarting. So it's sad. It's a sad time. But the problem is, and Benny will be the first to admit this, something's got to be done with the stadium.
Yeah,
it really
definitely.
has. I mean, it literally is falling apart. You know, even the hospitality areas. Not that I go to the hospitality areas much. Even the hospitality areas.
Yes,
you definitely do.
He definitely does.
That's where you got that.
Dressed
glass
like that,
from.
of course he does.
Yes,
That's
all
where you got
right.
that glass of yours from.
Yes,
You hang out in those hospitality areas with the IT experts, don't you? Steve?
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. But even those are shabby.
That down now.
What,
you
the
know.
IT experts are shabby?
Yeah,
or
the IT aspect, yeah. The East Stand's shabby, you know, the Sir Alex, even the Sir Alex stand now is showing its age. It really is sad what's happened to it. And I don't know. Here's
a question then,
Yeah.
right? So if we go with that, fast forward 2 years, the person who we've hired or the company we've hired goes, yeah, we're going to knock it down and we're going to start again. And here's our plans for it. And let's say that they soft talk it as well by saying, look, we're not going to completely knock down Old Trafford. We'll still use it potentially for women's team and youth team games or whatever. And they come up with a plan like that potentially would satisfy fans a little bit more.
Mm.
In the meantime, where do United play?
Yeah, well, therein lies the issue. And it really does, because, you know, Tottenham and Arsenal had Wembley to play and we can't do that. I mean, the fans would go, and, you know, Benny's best place to talk about that. The fans would go, but the cost, the club would have to subsidise the fans to do that. I just think it wouldn't be cost effective. So that is a bit of an issue, and I really got the answer for that.
Fuck it, just get them down to Right Robbie College. 80 quid a game for the 4G over there would be fine.
What's pointing under 18s trade? They might lose.
Our pitch is shit. We can't be playing on that.
Did you see that, Stu? They might actually get 3 points today because
Fuck
they
off,
didn't
we won
play.
2 in a row when we played. Fuck off.
Really?
I saw that.
Poynton can only get 3 points if the other team don't turn up.
Oh my!
That's great. That's brilliant. No, I didn't.
We've
know.
literally won 3 games when we've played, so I don't know
Well,
what you're talking about.
I don't want to say anything, but my nephew's under 9s won their title today. They won their championship today, so they actually won some games. I just thought I mentioned that.
Shit, we've won 2 in a row. Oh, fuck off! Honestly,
Does the under-9 manager want a double in age group and potentially go for a new job? It's a prestigious club. Poynton's.
Well, potentially, potentially. I mean, I hadn't got much to do with the coaching of it. A tiny bit, That's how you do it, Karthik. If
He's rolling his eyes. I've never seen Karthik roll his eyes like he's doing right now. He's a bit like Connor when Verstappen didn't finish today.
Well, sorry. Didn't you see as Verstappen was driving, getting in the mood, his fucking little teddy bear went out and his fucking little panda bear went out as well. Poor lad. Oh, and his dummy. His dummy got caught in his wheel.
I don't forget his rattle.
He's not. Connor knows.
I'm just sorry for Connor here. He's not even done anything. He's not even spoken for about 10 minutes.
The amount of people I've had to unfollow on Twitter today. Fucking idiot.
Are you still following me?
I think I have. Yeah, no.
Thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for that. Serious conversation though, right? We sort of poo-pooed this, and I'm going to because it doesn't make me feel good. But the last time that Old Trafford had to be redone because of damage, we did go and play at Main Road.
I can't be done. I don't think it could be done this time.
No, the other problem is City want that out of us as well, money out of us. They're not going to let us do it out of the kindness of their own hearts.
No.
And let's be fair now as well. Back during the war, fans were a bit more peaceful. You'd get fans going to Old Trafford, and you'll get fans, United fans that will go to Main Road the next week because away things going to away matches wasn't such a thing back then. So it was a lot more harmonious now. You think of 2 enemies trying to share the same ground, it's going to end up in fights and all sorts. You can just see it happening now. That's like saying go to Anfield, let's share Anfield. Not a chance that'll ever happen.
I mean, it's the West Midlands, the Northwest, whatever you want to call it, I suppose. We've been crying out for a second home stadium, haven't we, for years? Absolutely years. It needed something. We thought we were going to get something when the Commonwealth Games came to Manchester. It didn't happen. We needed that kind of second home because Everton are going to be in the same boat. From what I can gather, Everton are knocking down Goodison, aren't they? I don't think they're.
Yeah, but they've got a brand new plot of land on the.
They're going to the seafront.
Yeah, they've got seafront, aren't
they? They're keeping Goodison and
they're keeping Goodison while they build it. Yeah, so and then whatever they do with Goodison afterwards.
I mean, maybe that's an option for Manchester United to move slightly away. But I mean, I don't know whether fans would accept it. Who knows?
I said earlier, Stu, there is a lot of land. Where the Trafford Centre is. If you go across to the left, there's a lot of wasteland around there. So you could potentially still play at Old Trafford and then build, and it's still in the Trafford area, it's not Trafford Park as such, but it's still Trafford Council area. It's still Trafford. But obviously the club's official line is going to stay on the same plot of land. So
the only issue I can see with a brand new stadium is what do they call it?
I've already said this: the Coca-Cola Malcolm Memorial Stadium. It'll be something shit like that.
I thought it would be Avram Glazer Dubai International or
Avram Glazer. I've been at Formula One for my free kebab stadium.
Guys, Karthik's got news.
Go on, Karthik.
The opposition manager has gotten so rattled by me that they've decided to refuse to play us and are giving us both games as wins.
What have you done to the opposition manager?
Oh my
Top four, here we come. Up the fucking Reds.
You can't win a game on the pitch, but you can win it with your mouth.
I don't give a shit. I'm just rattled.
He's going around rattling every single manager he can. He's probably knocking on the door, posting threatening letters through the door,
All I did was in the away game, I asked them who the ref was. They refused to tell me. So, and then they were getting all proper shady about it. So I said, I'm not playing if we don't have a ref. and then they postponed that game. And then this game, I said, we'll get one of our people to ref it if we don't have a ref. And then they refused to play it. So we're getting both wins.
Is that your only 2 wins then this season?
Shut up, Stu. It's like 6 wins now or 5, something like that.
Yeah, and they only didn't
half
play.
half of your wins is because the other team didn't turn up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, reply to Bainesy. Go on.
Connor says, when Luton Town make it into the Premier League, Old Trafford will have to fight for worst stadium status.
Jesus, do you see that free kick?
Yeah.
Free
If
kick.
Nottingham Forest go up, the City Ground as well, but City Ground's quite nice. I like the City Ground.
City Ground's all right. Yeah.
Old Trafford, I'm Kane says, Old Trafford needs to be demolished. It's been rotten for years. We don't even have a screen. The name will be determined.
Why is it with a fucking screen? You're there to watch the screen, you're there to watch a match. We don't need a poxy screen. I'm sick of seeing this. We need screens at Old Trafford. But yeah, for VAR, the problem is with Old Trafford, with VAR, they'll announce it about half an hour later when you kicked off again. The match is free flowing. VAR decision, no goal, no shit, Sherlock. We kicked off 15 minutes ago. Come on.
Hammer says
we need a
screen.
screen. Come on.
Hammer's
You're not going to the
Benny.
cinema, go to a football game.
Oh, Benny, don't go to the cinema. Fucking the Batman. Jesus, 3.
Jarvis says,
Oh.
tearing down Old Trafford is like knocking down Canterbury Cathedral just because it's old. No respect for the history and culture heritage of the club. Upgrading Old Trafford is the only option. And by the way, I live by Canterbury Cathedral, and at the moment it's got
Same here.
scaffolding all around it.
There
Do
is
you, Benny?
scaffolding.
Well, Benny,
What's
Banksy, where do you live?
Oh, Bainesy.
I'm in Kent. I'm in Rochester.
You're only up the road from me. How am I only just finding this out?
Yeah, them two on the screen with the fucking.
Listen, I'm such a stereotype. I'm a brown southerner that supports Man United and I'm in IT. Come on.
Hold on, fucking Ben. The problem is, what you're missing here is his Bainesy knew lived in Kent, and that's why he's kept you
He
fucking
did.
quiet.
He actually knew I lived in Kent as well. You're not even lying.
I genuinely, I didn't. No, I didn't. I don't think I did anyway.
I'm at the moment. Wait a second. Where are you right now?
Me?
Yeah.
Is that his own?
You're in Rochester. You're in Rochester now.
Yeah.
I'm
I
in
moved-
Strood right now.
You're joking.
No, if I put the camera out there,
Fucking get a room.
I was going to say, stick them
Well,
two on like
you
they did
will
with me
see-
and Carter.
Wait, what?
What's dude?
you will see Rochester Cathedral out that window if I put the camera there right now.
Oh, I didn't
On
know
the other
that.
side of the
I
river.
didn't actually know. I didn't know you work in Strood.
I'm up at the KM studios. We're up in Rochester. We're up in Strood. We're on.
I didn't even know they were there.
With Sir Thomas
I'll
on
be honest.
business
I
park.
didn't even know they were there.
Well,
Oh, hold on. Do you not listen to local radio?
yes,
I
Banksy.
don't. I don't.
Sorry, mate. I got.
If
I gotta get
Radar
on that
come
one.
knocking,
He's reeled me in. He's fucking reeled me in.
if Radar come knocking, you listen 7 till 10 on a Sunday. I freaking tell you. Hammer says they're acting like excited Xbox friends. No one plays Xbox anymore. Hammer. Get real.
To be fair though, they'll be inviting each other around for Sunday lunch
Yeah, they are.
next week.
Benny, don't get jealous.
I
And
know, I
it
know.
better show up wearing the clobber that Stu's wearing tonight.
Hang on a minute. Hold up. Has Benny got the song ready or not?
What? Bananas in
No, he
pajamas. This is a
didn't.
really good
He
shout.
didn't.
So
He
what we're going to
didn't.
do is I'm going to go around one by one and just get your closing statements on the stadium thing, and then we're going to let Benny do bananas in pajamas. Amazing. Connor, you've heard from the whole panel. You said at the very start that Old Trafford doesn't need to be knocked down because it's in prestige condition. What do you say now?
Yeah, it doesn't need to be knocked down. It needs to be modernised, I think is the word. But I do agree with part of what Benny says. It doesn't need all this shite that fucking, screens and everything else. But it does need, I think, it's at the point now where you could probably increase capacity. The problem is with costs, there's certain, issues around that and all that kind of thing. But it doesn't need knocking down. It just needs modernising. There's a couple of areas they can do it. It doesn't need full on, billions of investment. We're not asking for that because that takes away from the playing squad. So doesn't need that. Just while we're talking about Old Trafford, though, we'll just quickly say the women are playing there next Sunday. Tickets are still on sale. That's the first time in front of fans at Old Trafford as well. So let's try and get that ramped up. I don't know where we are tickets at the moment.
It's bloody Mother's Day.
Wow,
Say, Mother's Day, Old Trafford, what a perfect Mother's Day.
Your mother's a woman. Bring her down.
Benny. How am I going to get that past the wife?
Bring her.
I mean, come on.
I thought you were going, Stu, because you said to me you were going hospitality.
I did.
Yeah,
I've got
take
2
hospitality.
tickets. I've got 2 tickets for them till it dawned on me it was Mother's Day. She told me the other week. You
It's
realise
a good Mother's Day gift.
Have you got the girl? What her words to me was, "Have you got the girl sorted?"
2 tickets to Old Trafford.
Have you?
Man United versus Everton this Sunday.
Yeah. You got something to fall back on if you haven't, so it's fine.
Absolutely.
Oh, jeez. Thanks very much. I almost got divorced the other week because I was late on here.
Yeah.
I was almost on
And
the
today,
street.
you nearly got divorced from the channel because you was late on here. So you
Yeah,
worked
all
out what's more
right.
And you
important.
turned
in
up
life.
half naked.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
You
all
turned
right.
up with your buttons undone. You didn't even undo your flies back up, mate. Come on
Sorry.
here with your flies half dangling down.
Sorry, guys. Benny, you going to help me out here or what, pal? Come on.
Stop looking at Benny for help. Stop
I look
looking
after
for help.
Benny.
You don't see Connor sat there when we're rigging him about Max Verstappen not finishing a race going, oh, someone help me.
Yes, he does.
To be fair, he does.
He did say that, didn't he? Please
No, he
help.
doesn't.
He just gets angry and goes quiet.
He
Well,
goes,
I've got nobody to back me up because you're all fucking Lewis
God,
fanboys.
All right,
anyway.
calm down. Just bring it into the pits, Connor. Calm down.
That's why he quit. That's why he quit today. He did quit. I did. I almost wrote it to you, Connor, and then I thought, better not, because I might get a big F off back. So I thought, no, I better not.
I've completely forgotten what Connor actually said. For his
But anyway, yeah, no, that was my closing thing. Anyway, yeah,
Modernise
just-
it.
if you are free next Sunday, I get it's Mother's Sunday and all that kind of thing, Mother's Day, whatever. But let's try and make the place.
Connor, Stu's already said no, man. Stop trying to force him to get there, mate. He already
Stu's
said
not
no.
been for a while, to be fair. But
You're worse
I
than the
haven't.
ticket.
I haven't
Now.
a chance. I haven't a chance really because.
What time's the kickoff?
12:30.
Go on,
12:30.
Connor.
Playing.
I'll see. Letting the side go.
I've got a game to forfeit. Sorry.
No, yeah, we know that. You haven't got one to win, have you?
No.
You haven't got one to win. Go on, Carpet. Closing statements.
Don't knock it down. Done.
I didn't know if you lagged then or if you were actually done.
No, just
Yeah, I thought that as well.
don't knock it down. Just fix it.
Fix it.
Get
So,
Bob the Builder on the phone. Sort it.
2 for modernising. Would you bring in an IT expert as well to sort the Wi-Fi out?
For fuck's sake.
Yeah, but not Bainesy.
Yeah, definitely not Bainesy.
Poor
Go on,
Bainesy.
Stu.
Because
Closing
he's wearing a
statements.
Stark Industries hoodie.
I must admit, I'm a bit torn on this, and there's 2 reasons for it. I love Old Trafford as it is, but it definitely needs something to do. So I'm going to go with. I think it'd be way too expensive to modernise it. So I think it needs to be removed and rebuilt. And I think for them, and
I
I
love
think,
how it says removed. Like this is going to pick you up and chuck it on the motorway.
I think for the club, in terms of revenue stream and potential revenue, I think it's the best option because, and me and Benny are the same. We're all the same. We love it, but if you modernise it, you're going to have to keep modernising it. You're going to have to keep working on
Yes,
it.
that's how maintenance works, Stu.
Yeah, but
I know we've not done it, but that's how it's meant to be.
No, I know, but you've got to look at the cost over 2 or 3 years to the cost of building a new stadium. And if it balances out, you may as well build a new stadium.
You can build a new stadium and future-proof it at the same time.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
Fair.
so that's how I would look at it. And I don't want to see Old Trafford go. I don't. As I say, I've seen it change, and I love it. And I think the building on the south stand, I think, will have its challenges. I really do. They're talking about moving the railway line. Look at the cost of all of that. You've just got to look at the cost of modernisation to the cost of.
All right, if they rebuild it, just make sure it's not a dome.
Well, it will be, won't it? I mean,
I don't want a dome. I don't want it. I don't want it. It looks horrible.
I don't know how much Real Madrid have paid to redo the skeleton. They've got a skeleton and they're redoing the whole outside and internal structure based on the skeleton of the Bernabeu. And the Bernabeu.
Also, is anyone looking at Connor right now? He's tripping up. Oh my word! You blended into your background then. Sorry, carry on.
And the Bernabeu is in a right state, but it's costing millions. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds to do it. And that's if I was the Glazers, that's what I'd be looking at. Purely from a business sense and a monetary. Sorry to dampen spirits.
Everything's commercial. Everything's commercial. What
It
happened
is.
to Manchester United Football Club? It's now just Manchester United. Bainesy, go on.
No, I actually think we need to move it with the times and
Get Wi-Fi.
get Wi-Fi. Yeah. No,
Exactly.
on a serious note, actually rebuild the whole thing. I don't like the word demolish. Something doesn't seem right with me with that, but pretty much demolish and rebuild it.
I don't like the word, but I'll use it anyway.
No, I'll use it. Yeah, no, but I think to be honest, if we are going to be the biggest club in the world, then it needs to start with how we look. The stadium isn't in good condition, if we're being honest. So, and even if you
just on Fred Woodward's comment as well, Fulham did it as well. By the way, hang on.
Fulham, yeah. So, yeah, like even if you inject 200-300 million into it, in 5-10 years' time, you need to do another 200-300 million, then again and again and again. We haven't seen anything for 17 years, so to see that continuous spend happening, I just don't think it. I don't think it will. Now, I say rebuild the whole thing, but it's not obviously our choice, is it? It's at the end of the day, it's the Glazers, and I always say that they're going to look at the cheapest option, which is probably liquor paint, maybe chuck a stand up somewhere, and there you go. That appeases the fans somehow. But if it was me, I would be rebuilding it. Maybe hopefully in the same location, maybe to the side. But yeah, rebuilding it. Move ahead with the times, I'd say. Stopping nostalgia emergence.
If we're building a new stadium, can we build an academy one as well?
Well, you've also got to bear in mind, by the way, the holding company takes the debt, not the club.
That was my other point, because about Derby.
Yeah.
What happened? Because obviously with Derby, they're having trouble selling the club just because of the ground.
The ground, Morris owns it. Yeah, Morris owns it. The holding club, is it Red Football, whatever a holding club's called? I think it's Red Football in it that holds the debt, not Manchester United. And the other thing about it is that you guys are forgetting the Glazers are developers, property developers out in the States. That's what they do. They demolish and rebuild. So.
Well, do you know what I find interesting? Barcelona, I completely forgot about this, but I was just looking at it. They're doing something similar to what's being, basically what you're telling them to do in terms of like knocking it down, rebuilding it. But they've got somewhere where they can go and play. In the meantime, the Olympic Stadium, a bit like a Wembley, isn't it? But it's just not.
Yeah.
But they're basically doing that, and it's going to take a whole season, the 22-23 season. So I think that's next season, because of the World Cup happening in the winter as well, to cut off some of the game time there. But it's meant to be finished in 2025, and it's basically the whole point of it is, Benny, wait for this, to increase the capacity, a 360-degree screen, a retractable roof, and new VIP areas. And it's costing 1.3 billion, so it's about the same amount that's being touted for Old Trafford. Yeah. But what I find quite interesting with this build is they mention in here about it being funded by a third-party loan. So
exactly right.
It would be the same.
It would be exactly the same. And the thing is, the stadium will pay it off. Arsenal did.
That was 15 million a year for Etihad at the Etihad Stadium in Man City. I mean, I know it's shit, but that's how they'll pay it off.
Arsenal did it relatively, quickly. They paid off their stadium, which was 800 million. Tottenham are doing it at the minute. Look,
but Stu, Arsenal didn't invest in their team because of that for a number of years.
Yeah,
now
they weren't a PLC. They weren't a PLC. There was no holding company. Spurs is a little bit different because they got a holding company to swallow the debt.
Spurs will talk about how the atmosphere is incredible in there, but is it the atmosphere from the Spurs fans that's incredible? Is it the fact that they play music at about 50 times the sound of any other stadium and do a light show? And it's the same with Arsenal. Arsenal fans have always complained that it's not the same. It's not the same at the Emirates.
It won't be the same, but look what Spurs did. Spurs got two pitches, one retractable, and they're earning shitloads off the NFL now, four times a year.
But for the fan, Benny, come on. Let me just quickly go to Benny, because Benny, closing statements from you. You're so for a light show before a game at Old Trafford, aren't you, mate?
Oh, God.
Screw the light show.
I've just realised what Stu was on about the revolving pitches and everything. I could just see it being the Glazers thing. Oh, we've been NFL to the Northwest, for fuck's sake.
We'll have the IPL as well,
Oh, well, we've got the Emirates Old Trafford for that one. But,
they're likely to, Benny. They're likely to.
To be fair, mate, they're likely to have three, because I think they could even potentially have one where they could swap out for like a more solid base where they could have concerts in there and ice skating, ice hockey, whatever it may be.
Can you see that? So Barcelona also building like an academy pitch, 15,000 seats as well on the same area.
We need one of them as well.
By the way, can I just make one point about? Sorry, Benny, just before you come.
Sorry, mate.
Barcelona are fucking broke.
Yeah.
They've got.
they
Don't forget they've got Spotify coming in to sponsor this stadium as well. So, how much is Spotify pumping in as well?
Well,
I want to hear Benny sing now. Can we hear Benny sing?
Yeah, you'll hear me sing after I give my closing.
Go on,
I'll wait for Stu to
I
finish.
want to hear him sing.
Yeah, it's just modern
He's just
football.
delaying
isn't
it. He's delaying it. He's delaying it.
No. One thing I will say before I go on to the bananas and pajamas, which I haven't rehearsed whatsoever, but I've got the lyrics on my phone, so we'll go for that. But anyway, it's about the next generation as well. Someone like my son, you know, I'm 35 years old now. You know, what the next generation coming through, the kids now, you know, is a brand new purposely built stadium benefiting them more in the long-term run than someone like me that's probably going to go for the next 30, maybe 40 years if I'm lucky, fingers crossed, you know, or somebody that's got this whole life ahead of him and he's going to enjoy the new facilities and have a top rush stadium for the next 10, 15 years. All I have to do is do a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of topping up here and there. Whereas Old Trafford, as you're saying, if we go and do the restructure the South Stand and it's doable and it's they find a way of doing it, modern day technology and all that lot, and modern day construction techniques or what have you, which I keep reading about. If we do that, though, how long before they have to majorly develop another part of the stadium? Like I think Stu touched upon, the East, the Stretford End, the Sir Alex Ferguson, then look even more outdated because you've got a brand new or near enough a brand new one on the Sir Bobby Charlton side. So how long and how much money is that going to cost? Keep costing the club in the team in the long run. Liverpool are redoing Anfield Road. I don't know when they're going to start doing that. They've done this, as I said before, the Kenny Dalglish stand, I think they call that now. So their stadium's as old as ours, so they're revamping theirs. Real Madrid are not moving. They're just, as you said, doing the outside skeleton, which is costing them quite a lot of money with no increased capacity. But again, you know, is that the right way to go? Keeping their spiritual home, their proper home that they've been at ever since day dot near enough. Same with Liverpool at Anfield. I know they used to play at Goodison, but you know, ever since they moved to Anfield, you know, it's been their spiritual home. You know, likewise with us. You know, I don't know. It's question upon questions, but we shall see. I suppose time will tell. Let me get the lyrics up because I know you're all dying to hear this.
The thing is, while Ben is doing that, one more thing to bear in mind. That you'll be looking at maybe a 10,000 to 15,000 extra capacity. The amount of money that will generate over the season alone, will be astronomical to the club. There'll be season ticket sales in there, you know. So,
Stu, also, I wanted to say thank you to you because I always learn something new when you're on this show. I didn't know.
Yeah, I always do.
Glazers. I didn't know the Glazers were property developers. I just thought they did windows.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Sometimes I wonder why Uncut did end.
Oh my life.
That's a bad one.
That's bad.
I've been sat on that all through Benny's speech. Carry on.
Just quickly, Williams put the same can also, so in response to the history, same could also be sent to Highbury, Wembley, White Hart Lane, Main Road, and when terracing was removed for all-seater. No club can stand still. New modern stadia offer better and safer facilities and more multi-purpose use options for clubs to maximise use and revenue. Someone, Ben Yeats, says, for me as a fan of 38 years, we need to keep the soul and history of the stadium, but rejuvenate and expand where possible, rather than a complete new build. My mate's a Spurs fan and he loves the stadium, but he says he'd much rather have White Hart Lane back as it had soul and history. I think there's a lot of very divided fans on this. The one thing that I would say is if it does get redone, I'd like it to be redone in a way that sort of similar to the new camp and from those plans, which is that actually the stadium rebuilt to a point, but mainly it's building it back up again. It's more or less knocking it down and building it back up again in some ways. A lot needs to change, but the biggest change of all is whatever they do, a bit like our transfer policy where that needs to change. I don't want a stop and start solution. If you're going to rebuild the stadium, you then take care of it. You keep it going. You keep building on it. You maintain it. And you consult with the fans as well on how you continue to bring life from it, how you continue to be able to hold the legacies of the like of the Sir Alex Ferguson stand and the different memorials and the monuments in and around the stadium, which are obviously going to be affected by rebuilding the stadium. So there's a lot the club needs to consult on and think about. To be honest, the Metrolinx lines, yes, I'm completely with you, and other facilities and logistics. I mean, whatever. That obviously needs to be thought about from hopefully a project manager, and I'm completely with you. I care a little bit less about that. I want to know what they're going to do with the Holy Trinity. I want to know what they're going to do with the stands. I want to know how they're going to keep legacies going. I want to know how they're going to put a screen in front of Benny's face so that he gets to watch more of the game on the screen. I want to know how they're going to hire IT experts to get Wi-Fi for Carthage to do his fan cams. Like, these are the important things for a modern day fan, right? But no, you know what I'm trying to say. Ultimately, I want them to do it in a way that works for Manchester United and ties into our history and tradition, and then gets looked after. I don't want them to just build something new and fancy, do a light show with Britney Spears singing at the opening of a game for the first match of the season, and then
Britney Spears. Bloody hell, you are old.
Rename. I'm saying it because it's every time I say Britney Spears' name, Benny goes, oh.
If really they'll have a brand new stadium, halftime shows with fucking Tiny Temper and Snoop Dogg on, and I'll be like, come on, this is not football.
Hey, if Snoop's turning up, I'll have it.
Okay, he realised.
Tony Temper will be happy that you've put him on the same line as
Snoop Dogg.
I like Snoop Dogg, but come on, that's going to happen.
He realised the thing that could well happen. Halftime shows could well happen.
Oh, please no! I don't want light shows. I don't want screens. I don't want halftime shows.
I don't.
I don't want. I don't want. Oh no!
You need to. For me, they just need to respect whatever they do. They need to somehow find a way to mix the modern with the old, and they need.
Just respect the club's traditions, and maybe if you are going to build a new stadium, make it unique. Don't make it a carbon copy of the Emirates. Don't make it a carbon copy of Wembley or Tottenham Stadium. Make it unique. And also, if we're going to do it, make it the largest capacity stadium in the whole of the UK. Go 100,000. Go 90,000. Go 95,000.
I agree.
Go bigger than Wembley. Go big. Go big. Or don't bother doing it at all. You know what I mean?
That's what Stu said to his missus earlier.
Just
have retractable seats. Do the lot.
Somebody said on Twitter, "Are you like building experts?" You don't need to be a building
expert. Yeah, we are actually.
To be fair, I'm a building expert. It's like Old Trafford. I'm getting there.
Right. It's just about economics, isn't it? It's all about economics.
That's all it ever boils down to. Jose Mourinho quotes. I'm going to do one. It's football heritage.
Well, heritage, yes. Heritage.
Was that your impression, Jose Mourinho?
No, it's football heritage.
He just went to get the
but he doesn't want to.
Okay, so Mourinho, if he was old and irrelevant. Okay, go on, Benny, sing.
Thanks, Carthage.
Go on, Benny, sing.
Benny. So Benny's performing bananas in pajamas for the halftime show, says John Commode. Let's see how this goes down.
Brilliant. For the halftime show.
Oh dear.
I'm excited for this.
Man, I've got to read up a phone because I don't know the lyrics properly.
Oh,
right.
Do you have background music ready, Ben?
No,
right, shut up and let me sing, because otherwise I won't sing. Right. Bananas in pajamas are coming down the stairs. Bananas in pajamas are coming down in pairs. Bananas in pajamas are chasing teddy bears. I'm cracking you up. Because on Tuesdays they're all trying to catch them unaware. There you go. Sorry, but you're not cracking me up. I can't.
Fair play. Well
Benny.
Well done.
Love that.
I'm out.
Love that. Benny, thank you. So we need another task for someone to do next week.
Connor, Max Verstappen needs to finish a race.
Okay, it's the Saudi
race next week.
Connor.
Yeah, it's the Saudi one next week. Yeah, so I'll be racing back from Old Trafford, hopefully getting back in time.
Yes, watch out overlapping cars, won't you?
Watch them overheating engines.
Yeah. Don't burn those tires out.
Oh, crikey. Is there another show? Is this on again 10 o'clock next week?
It is, Connor. This is a new thing. We do it.
Oh, Connor. You've got to be on. You have to be.
Yeah, don't be skipping it, lad.
No, if Verstappen doesn't finish next week, I'm definitely not coming up.
Yeah,
bottle job. What a bottle job.
Hang on, bottle job. The two massive Lewis fans, Callum and Jamie, where are they tonight? They should
just start the show.
They're having sex. Leave them alone.
Callum's been snogging him. I don't want to start rumours, but that's what happened.
That's what happened. Did they say what happened with Verstappen? Mate, I haven't heard seriously.
Well, they reckon the same for both cars and the fuel pumps. Which
fuel pump? Yeah.
Why are we talking about Mexico? No one cares. Look, no one cares. He's an unlegitimate world champion.
Oh, here we
Okay,
go.
so no
Oh,
one
no.
cares. The FIA came out and said that they didn't follow the rules that won him the championship. So no one cares. We can all sit here and talk about sporting heritage, and
Sporting integrity.
Oh, Benny.
You're right, Connor. You're right, Connor. Connor, you've gone very red.
Oh, quality.
Sorry, Connor.
I heard that's why he didn't finish the
Up.
race. He was trying to be a good sport and just didn't finish the race because he felt ashamed of his own.
It's okay. It's only the first race of the season. I'd rather
He
not
wanted to give
finish
everyone
on
a
the
head
first race of
start.
the finish than the last one.
It was decent.
Oh, wait a
other than
second. Anyway, thanks, Connor.
What's going on here?
Connor, you're right.
What's going on?
I'm just looking at you, mate, because
You hot?
What?
what? That's a
What's
weird
going
question
on?
to ask.
Did you just go
I'm just
really
gonna
red?
What
mute
a weird
myself.
question to ask. How many people in your life do you just go to and go, are you hot?
Yeah.
Oh, you know. It depends.
And before this gets weird, I might end the show.
Yeah, I would.
It was fun again.
So I'm going to go like Connor's colour in a minute.
Thank you.
Oh, you're
Pretty
sure?
hot in here. I've got my fan on over there.
Oh, before we go, Stu, all that talk about pink boots, what's the colour of your shirt?
Oh, you're a poser, Stu, a poser.
I have been posing tonight. Yeah, the
Nothing wrong with a pink shirt.
I didn't expect that. No,
Yeah.
man.
to be fair, it's a present. Well,
That's
no,
not the kind of
quite.
poses he's been doing then.
Not quite. I did fall asleep halfway through the Batman. Though.
Oh, Batman. Okay, I thought you fell asleep through something else. No, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
no,
what
no.
everyone who watches Spider-Man.
Shut
No,
up.
I won't be
Of all
watching
the
that
things to rattle me with, you pick Spider-Man.
one. I won't be watching Spider-Man. No, thanks.
Less shit films as well, Stu. You're not missing much.
Oh, he strikes back.
Oh!
At least Spider-Man makes it till the end of the film.
Well, does he die after, or was that not in this one?
Here's what, Dave.
I said, did he die at the end? Did he die after the film finishes, or did he not die in this one?
He did not die in this one.
Okay. Don't tell anyone. People might not watch it. Might be going for a thrill seek. To be fair, my little boy bought this weekend I bought my little boy a Spider-Man hat and Spider-Man glasses. He loves Spider-Man.
Nice.
He's Spider-Man though. He's Spider-Man to him. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah. Anyway.
Nothing wrong in that. You've got to be United hat, I take it.
There's
maybe one
It's
answer.
got United hat. It's got United kit.
Well, there's only one answer for that, isn't there? And it's yes.
No, he doesn't have a United
All
hat.
right,
He has
fucking
United
hell,
kit.
Stu Glazer.
Fucking hell.
Why has it got a hat?
Talking about being in hospitality. I'm funding your hospitality system.
Yeah, too right. You are, yeah.
Oh my god, I love this. Stu looks like he's gonna do. Oh my god! Next week, Stu, can you just do a couple of lines of like an R&B melody for me? And I want you in a shirt.
Right. R&B, okay.
Stu that's like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't go chasing, something like that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I used to like TLC, actually.
TLC, yeah, he knows it, he knows it.
What I love is James is giving it the big one in the live chat, but he won't actually come on the show.
Exactly. It's fucking. He's talking about me as well. Little cunt.
I can't think. Right.
Why, hey, mama?
Stu can sing "Hey Mama" next Sunday because it's Mother's
It's
Day.
Mother's Day,
yeah,
mate.
true.
Or Stacey's mum. Yeah, next Sunday, by the way, we'll probably be talking about the women's team at Old Trafford. We'll probably be talking about other stuff as well. So good times. Actually, do you know what
Hopefully,
we
yeah,
might do next week? Should we do a next manager chat as well? Should we like do a proper stick our necks on the line? Who'll be going for Ten Hag? Or
Sure. That's not been done on YouTube.
wow, hello,
Wow.
Karthik, the original content creator.
That's Karthik not on next week.
Wow, thanks for your time, Karthik. You can go again now.
Uh,
Right. Anyway, thank you guys. Have a good week. Thank you for joining me again tonight. It's been good fun.
Cheers, fellas.
Unlike Max Verstappen, we do know when to finish, and we have reached our finish line.
box,
Thank
box, 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 box.
Box.
Engine trouble, box.
Engine's gone. It's fucking shit.
And he's gone. Thank you guys. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.
We're going to win there. Oh, never mind.